mistreated and misjudged for centuries in a biased world that favors men and boys. The gap between women's rights has decreased, but as modern as we think we are, society still shows a bias towards males in job opportunities and disparity of pay. We have come a long way, but we aren't there yet. At the beginning of the 20th century, women had fewer rights than women today. Women were basically treated like property. A woman's husband could beat her and exercise control over her physically, yet she could not fight back legally. Women were not admitted into universities to become educated and were restricted from many, many jobs. Women were paid only 59 cents for every dollar earned by a man. Married women had no property rights, and single or widowed women had to pay property taxes even though they had no voice on the making of tax laws. Women were not allowed into the military, nor were they allowed to serve on juries. And most importantly, women were not allowed to vote in most states. Women were kept totally dependent on men. 2016 marks the 168th anniversary of a movement by women to achieve full civil rights in this country. 7 generations of women so far have brought about changes in family life, and government, and education, and in employment. In July of 1848, Elizabeth Cady Stanton attended a tea party with 3 other friends, and during their luncheon, they discussed their discontent over the limitations they experienced as women. They became so impassioned and drafted a list of concerns that morphed into the Declaration of Sentiments, whose framework was based on the Declaration of Independence, and they set a date for the first Women's Rights Convention. Now, Alice Paul, a young Quaker activist who had experience in the English suffrage movement, shook things up when she developed an activist group known as the National Women's Party in 1913. She adopted more aggressive tactics such as picketing and conducting rallies and marches to raise public awareness. How many of you have watched Mary Poppins growing up? This is what Alice Paul did, taking her cue from our English counterparts. Remember when Mrs. Banks marched around the house, singing her sister suffragette song about casting off domestic shackles and marching militantly for the right to vote? Encouraged by the war efforts of women during World War I, the 19th Amendment was ratified on August 26, 1920, providing full voting rights to women nationally. How many of you play sports? I enjoy competitive swimming and playing water polo. But around 50 years ago, we wouldn't have had the opportunity. Girls and women were seldom involved in sports, and high schools did not encourage female athletes. Today, girls make up 41% of all student athletes. I never knew it was all because of the women's movement, which all started with the Tea Party. In the 2016 Rio Olympics, we witnessed gender biases, attitudes which are so ingrained to the general public that they go unnoticed or uncontested. When American swimmer Katie Ledecky beat her own world record in the 400-meter freestyle, the announcer said, "She swims like a man." What? This year, we saw the first woman to ever run for president. Hillary Clinton set a great example of hard work and demonstrated for girls and women everywhere that no position should be beyond our grasp. It was amazing to see the number of voters who visited Susan B. Anthony's grave in New York to pay special tribute on this occasion by leaving their "I voted" sticker on her grave marker. Did you know that in 2015, female full-time workers made only 80 cents for every dollar earned by a man? This means that if a man makes $4,000 a month, a woman with the same job would only make $3,200. That's a significant difference of $800. Many will argue that the gender income parity is due to women choosing part-time jobs or not seeking advancement in employment in order to have more flexibility for tending to their families. Some jobs just simply won't accept women, maybe because of their physical abilities and or appearance. For the past 168 years, women have fought for equality. We must not give up the fight. As Hillary Clinton said, We are stronger together. We must continue to fight until we break that glass ceiling. And then who knows what will be possible. Little girls everywhere must be encouraged to have tea parties, taught to dream, and be shown that their dreams can become a reality. Who knows, maybe I will become a senator or even president of the United States of America. But if I become an engineer, I at least want to be paid the same salary my father receives. Thank you.
We're going to stop here for a short break, and if we could resume, I'll say 10 o'clock, and maybe by 10:02 we're actually started again. Sound okay? Give me about 10